They will not come at you with banners raised or swords drawn. No declaration of war, no clear enemy to aim for. Their power is not in clarity, it is in confusion. They manipulate through chaos because chaos cannot be predicted, and what cannot be predicted cannot be defended against in the usual way. Do not mistake the whirlwind for nature. It is often manufactured, summoned deliberately to dissolve structures, to unmoor loyalties, to erase memory. They understand that if you can't control a man, you disorient him, and once he is lost, you lead him wherever you wish. This is the first rule of control: confuse, then command. You do not win by reacting. Reaction is the luxury of the powerless. The ruler must live several moves ahead, cold, patient, unsentimental. Where they flood the board with noise, you remain still, watching the tremors for pattern. Every chaotic moment reveals the hands that created it. You just have to stop seeking peace long enough to recognize the blueprint beneath the fire. Because it is always there. Every protest, every outrage, every emotional spiral on the stage of society, these are not accidents. They are tools. Rage is the new currency. Victimhood, the modern throne. Control the storm, and you own the sea. But to command such waters, you must be something else entirely. Not louder, not kinder, just sharper, more enduring. You do not out-yell chaos. You outlast it. You strip the world of illusions, beginning with your own. You see loyalty as conditional, trust as temporary, praise as a performance, and morality as a costume worn when convenient. This is not cynicism, this is clarity. To lead, to influence, to build in an age like this, you must see men not as they should be, but as they are, vain, fractured, proud, afraid. They hunger for strong hands and soft words. They kneel before those who pretend to free them. They sell their autonomy for comfort. And if you do not understand this, if you think that goodwill alone sustains order, you will be devoured by those who do not share your illusions. They do not want truth. They want advantage. They want to believe they are awake while they sleepwalk toward chains. The prince who survives today is not the one who trusts men, but the one who understands the masks they wear. He listens beneath the applause. He reads the betrayal before it's spoken. He rewards not with affection, but with calculation. Kindness can be offered, but never expected. That is the second rule of survival. Do not confuse mercy with weakness or cruelty with strength. Both are tools, nothing more. What matters is the effect. Did it bend the will of your enemies? Did it harden the loyalty of your followers? Did it shift the terrain in your favor? If not, discard it. Because you are not here to be loved. You are not here to be remembered for how noble you seemed. You are here to endure, to build, to hold the line while the rest dissolve into noise. And make no mistake, they will try to unmake you, not with blades but with stories, with silence, with pressure, with doubt. So you must become untouchable, not in appearance, but in will. Your power must be quiet, your moves invisible. Your enemies should see your smile and wonder what it hides. Your allies should serve you without knowing why they do. You must be the center of the web, not the loudest voice in the room. Because influence is not noise, it is gravity. You pull people toward you without begging. You shape outcomes without being seen. You become fate for those around you, and they will call it coincidence. But inside, you know better. You sculpt the field while others argue over the rules. You anticipate betrayal not as a wound, but as a season, inevitable, predictable. And when it comes, you are already elsewhere, already building again. This is the discipline they lack, the cold strategy, the refusal to feel sorry for yourself, the ability to bleed and keep building, to be hated and keep ruling, to be exiled and keep watching. Because power is not what you hold, it is what you control. And sometimes that control is invisible, until it is too late to resist. They manipulate through chaos. You win through cold strategy. This is not cruelty. This is order. This is how empires survive. They will speak of freedom while designing your cage. They will drape chains in silk and call them progress. They will whisper of unity as they divide and fracture. Do not be lulled by their language. Words are their most reliable weapon, for men are shaped more by narrative than by truth. The ruler who survives is the one who understands the theater of politics, the choreography of appearances. He knows that every stage is built to conceal the hands moving the puppets, and he refuses to be the puppet, even if he must pretend to be one for a time. Do not rush to declare your intentions. The loudest man in the room invites the sharpest daggers. Conceal your aims beneath layers of ambiguity. Make your presence felt but your designs unreadable. Let others exhaust themselves in speculation while you advance, step by step, unseen. A prince's strength is not in brute force alone, but in his capacity to create uncertainty in others. Fear is born in the unknown. Let them fear the shadow of what you might do, even when you do nothing. Men will tell you they crave justice, fairness, dignity. But watch closely. When offered those things, many recoil. They prefer comfort to liberty, spectacle to substance. The wise ruler exploits this weakness, for to govern is not to uplift every man to his highest self. It is to hold together a fragile web of instincts, appetites, and illusions. Tear the illusions away too fast, and you will be destroyed for your honesty. Feed them carefully, and you can guide the masses anywhere you choose. There will come moments when you are tempted to believe in permanence, when power feels secure, when alliances seem solid, when your position feels unassailable. That is the moment to sharpen your vigilance. No empire, no regime, no leader endures forever, not unless he prepares daily for his own destruction. Assume betrayal in every smile, assume decay in every institution. Assume that today's friend may be tomorrow's assassin. Only by expecting this can you shape events before they shape you. Even loyalty is a fragile currency. Do not imagine it to be a gift of the heart. It is a calculation. Men are loyal when it serves them to be so, and they will turn the moment it does not. The prince who survives is the one who makes loyalty profitable and disloyalty fatal. Let them love you if they can, but ensure they fear you enough to obey even when their love falters. Fear, properly measured, is more enduring than affection. It does not require constant renewal. To govern is to make choices that will be hated. There is no path of purity, no set of actions that leaves all men content. The ruler who seeks universal approval seeks his own destruction. Better to disappoint the sentimental than to be devoured by the cunning. Better to be cursed in secret than overthrown in public. In every decision, measure the cost, not in virtue, but in survival. What preserves your power? What crushes your enemies? What forestalls rebellion? These are the questions that must guide you. And yet, power alone is not enough. It must be wielded with precision, like a blade honed to cut without waste. The clumsy tyrant burns out his reign in violence and excess. The subtle prince shapes hearts and minds so that men police themselves. He governs not with iron chains, but with invisible threads that bind more tightly than any shackle. The appearance of freedom can be the most perfect prison. You must learn to see the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. Sentiment is a luxury you cannot afford. Do not waste your tears on the ingratitude of men or the cruelty of fate. Both are constants. Instead, study them, map their contours, anticipate their patterns. If you wish to master fate, you must first understand her habits. She favors the bold but destroys the reckless. She tests the patient but rewards the relentless. Remember this, power is never truly given. It is taken, seized in moments of weakness, in gaps of chaos, and once seized, it must be maintained with a steady hand. To hesitate is to invite challengers. To waver is to encourage predators. The prince must stand like a fixed star, unmoved by storms, even if inside he feels the waves crashing. Appearances are as much a weapon as armies. Let them see composure, and they will believe in your invincibility. Your enemies will not announce themselves. They will smile at your table, toast your victories, and whisper your undoing in back rooms. Learn to read silence as carefully as words. Learn to hear what is not spoken. The greatest threats often arrive without fanfare, like poison in a cup. Strike first when you must. but never waste a strike. Each move must be purposeful, each blow decisive. To squander force is to reveal weakness. As you rise, remember, power isolates. The higher you climb, the fewer men you can trust, until trust itself becomes an indulgence. Do not fear this isolation. It is the natural condition of command. A ruler cannot move as freely as his subjects. He is bound not by chains, but by necessity. He acts not for his own pleasure, but to preserve the state. That is the weight of the crown, not the gold, but the burden. Yet even as you shoulder this burden, you must not let it crush you. A prince must cultivate an inner coldness, a reserve of strength untouched by flattery or despair. He must be able to cut off his own hand if it threatens the body. Mercy has its place, but ruthlessness has its hour. Know the difference. Know when to build and when to burn. Know that to hesitate at the wrong moment is to lose everything. You will be told to compromise, to bend, to appease. But remember, appeasement does not buy peace. It purchases delay. Delay for the enemy to sharpen his sword, to build his alliance, to plan your fall. The prince who survives is not the one who avoids conflict at all costs, but the one who chooses his battles and ends them swiftly. A long war drains loyalty and invites betrayal. A sharp, decisive strike can silence opposition for years. And yet the ruler must not be seen as a butcher. Fear is useful, but terror is dangerous. Men may fear you and still serve. They may hate you and still obey. But when fear turns to desperation and hatred to rage, they will risk everything to destroy you. Balance is the art. A ruler must be as the lion and the fox, strong enough to frighten the wolves, cunning enough to escape their traps. Do not confuse ideals with power. Ideals inspire, but power commands. A prince can use ideals as tools, as banners to rally men, but he must never become their prisoner. When ideals conflict with survival, survival must win. For there can be no justice, no order, no future in a realm where the prince has fallen. In the end, you will be judged, perhaps by history, perhaps by God, perhaps by no one at all. But while you breathe, while you hold the reins, judgment does not matter. Only the preservation of power, only the stability of the state. The rest is noise. They manipulate through chaos. You win through cold strategy. This is not a lesson in cruelty. It is a lesson in reality. A prince does not wish for the world he wants. He conquers the world he has. And when he cannot conquer, he endures, waiting, watching, sharpening. The day will come when the tide turns, and the man who survives the storm will rule the sea. Then listen carefully, because what comes next is not for those who crave comfort or applause. It is for the one who understands that to rule is to walk alone in a crowd, to smile while weighing the cost of every gesture, every alliance, every whispered promise. The world is not held together by ideals. It is held together by force, persuasion, and the illusion of inevitability. You must learn to become the architect of that illusion. Let them believe your power is natural, ordained, unshakable. Let them whisper that resistance is futile, that rebellion will collapse before it begins. This is how you govern without lifting a sword when their hearts have already surrendered. But if they refuse the illusion, if they begin to test your strength, then you must strike with precision and finality. Half measure, I invite endless defiance. A single decisive blow brings silence. Never assume that past victories guarantee future safety. Power is a moving current, and the man who stands still is already drowning. You must be in constant motion, not outwardly frantic, but inwardly relentless. Anticipate threats before they surface. Break enemies before they gather strength. Reward allies before their loyalty wavers. The prince who waits for crises to come is already too late. They will try to draw you into sentiment. They will speak of loyalty, of love for the people, of the beauty of forgiveness, and yet these are the same men who would sacrifice you at the first whisper of danger. Understand this. Gratitude fades faster than fear. A favor done today is forgotten tomorrow, but the memory of consequence, swift, cold, inescapable, lingers. Fear is the anchor that holds a state in place. This does not mean you must be a tyrant. No, tyranny is the refuge of fools. Rule too harshly and you breed desperation. Desperation breeds conspiracies. Rule too softly and you invite contempt. Contempt breeds revolt. Balance is everything. Let them see enough justice to hope, enough strength to obey. Let them see your hand open in reward and closed in punishment. Make them believe that their fates rise and fall with your favor, and they will chain themselves for you. You must also master the art of patience. The impatient prince burns his kingdom in a rush for glory. The wise ruler allows events to ripen, allows his enemies to expose their weakness, allows the field to shift in his favor. When the moment comes, he strikes not before, not after. Timing is the soul of strategy. Do not mistake appearances for substance. Smiling faces conceal sharpened daggers. Flattery conceals ambition. Even silence conceals calculation. A prince must see beyond words, beyond gestures, to the instincts that drive men. They are predictable in their vanity, their envy, their fear of loss. Exploit these instincts, and you can shape them as a sculptor shapes clay. Fail to grasp them, and you will become their victim. Learn also to master yourself. The greatest enemy of the prince is not rebellion or invasion, it is weakness within. Guard against arrogance, for it blinds. Guard against despair, for it paralyzes. Guard against attachment, for it distorts judgment. You must be able to sacrifice anything: comfort, allies, even your own reputation if it preserves your power. The prince who clings to pride or love is already half defeated. They will say that such coldness is inhuman. Perhaps it is. But to lead is not to live as other men do. It is to shoulder a burden they could not bear, to make decisions they would never understand, to see a reality they are too afraid to face. The crown is not an ornament, it is a chain of iron, and it leaves scars on those who wear it. Understand that the world is not fair and was never meant to be. Justice is not a natural force, it is a construct, upheld only by those strong enough to enforce it. Without strength, laws are mere paper and virtue mere noise. If you wish to preserve justice, you must first preserve your throne. A dead prince enforces nothing, a weak prince changes nothing. You will be tempted, in your loneliest hours, to wish for a gentler path, to wonder if you might rule without calculation, without deception, without fear. Dismiss these thoughts. They are the luxuries of the ruled, not the ruler. You are not here to indulge the heart. You are here to endure. There will be days when you are hated, when they curse your name and call you tyrant, when they conspire in shadows and pray for your downfall. Let them. It is better to be feared and alive than loved and overthrown. Admiration is sweet but fleeting. Survival is bitter but lasting. You can rebuild trust. You cannot rebuild from the grave. Even so, do not let fear consume you. Do not rule by terror alone. A terrified people will obey, but they will never fight for you. If you are wise, you will give them something to love, something to defend. The prince who inspires both fear and pride commands not just obedience, but devotion, and devotion is worth armies. In all things, think like the hunter. Study your prey. Stalk in silence. Strike when the moment comes, but never let the prey believe it is being hunted, for the most dangerous beast is the one cornered without warning. Appear harmless, even generous, while you lay your traps. When the jaws close, it must be too late for them to resist. You are not merely a man, you are an institution. Your survival is the survival of the state. Your fall would unleash chaos, and chaos devours all. In this truth, you will find justification for every hard choice, every sacrifice, every mask you must wear. They manipulate through chaos, because chaos serves the ambitious and the ruthless. You will defeat them only by becoming more patient, more cunning, more relentless than they are. In the end, power is not about glory. It is about endurance. It is about walking through fire without being consumed, about standing unmoved while storms rage around you, about carrying the weight of a realm on shoulders that must never tremble. They manipulate through chaos. You win through cold strategy. This is the way. There is no other. Then hear this. Because once you cross this threshold, there is no return. You cannot unknow the architecture of power, nor unsee the machinery behind the curtain. To understand is to lose innocence forever. But innocence is not the material of kings. It is the opiate of subjects. Every realm, every institution, every alliance is held together by perception. A throne is no stronger than the belief that it cannot be toppled. A prince no safer than the illusion that he is inevitable. Your first task, then, is to master this illusion. Let the people believe you are necessary, not because you are good, not because you are just, but because without you, the earth cracks, the heavens fall, and their little lives are reduced to dust. This belief must be cultivated carefully. Too much fear, and they may rise against you in desperation. Too much freedom, and they will forget why they need you at all. So you balance between the two, tightening and loosening your grip like a man tuning the strings of an instrument. A master of power does not play too harshly, nor too softly. He plays just enough to keep the melody intact. Your enemies, too, will work in shadows. They will not strike directly, for direct conflict exposes them as much as it does you. Instead, they will spread doubt. They will infect your alliances with suspicion. They will turn your own strengths against you, whispering of tyranny if you are firm, of weakness if you are merciful. Learn to recognize these campaigns for what they are, a strategy of corrosion. The wise prince does not waste time protesting his innocence or justifying his actions to those determined to hate him. He acts. He isolates the source of decay and removes it with surgical precision. No fanfare, no spectacle. Let the removal be swift and quiet so that others wonder if the threat ever existed at all. Uncertainty is as powerful as force. When men are unsure who is winning, they hedge their loyalties. When they believe you are already victorious, they offer them freely. Never imagine that stability is permanent. Every state tends toward entropy. Every system collapses into disorder unless maintained by a vigilant hand. To relax is to rot. To assume loyalty is to invite betrayal. Power is not static, it is fluid, and its currents favor the ruthless, the disciplined, the prepared. Be wary, too, of those closest to you. The dagger that strikes the heart rarely comes from a distant enemy. It comes from the hand that has embraced you, the lips that have kissed your ring. Trust is a necessary fiction in governance, but treat it as fiction nonetheless. Reward service lavishly, but never let any man grow so strong he no longer needs you. Divide your allies when necessary. Turn their ambitions against one another. A divided court cannot conspire. Remember also that leadership is not merely domination, it is creation. A prince who governs only by fear may survive for a time, but his reign will be brittle, build as well as destroy. Bind the people to you with works, with laws, with achievements that outlive momentary passion. When they see their own fortunes rise with yours, they will defend you not out of fear, but out of self-interest. And self-interest is the most reliable loyalty of all. You will face crises that seem insurmountable, wars you did not choose, famines you did not cause, enemies you did not provoke. Do not waste time seeking justice or fairness in these trials. The world is indifferent to your suffering. What matters is how you respond. Panic is contagious, but so is composure. When the prince stands unshaken, the people believe the state unshaken. Even if your foundation crumbles beneath you, never let them see you stagger. To lead is to perform. The mask is as important as the man. They do not follow you for who you are, they follow the role you play, the symbol you embody. Learn to wear the mask until it fuses with your flesh, and yet, in private, you must be able to strip it away. A ruler who loses himself in the performance becomes a puppet of his own illusion. The wise prince keeps a part of himself untouched by the stage, a cold, quiet place within, where every decision is weighed, every consequence measured, every betrayal anticipated. This is where the real rulership occurs, far from the eyes of the court, far from the noise of the crowd. Here, there is no morality, no vanity, no desire for approval. Here, there is only necessity. They will tempt you to rule by passion, by ideology, by the intoxication of applause. Resist them. Passion blinds. Ideology imprisons. Applause fades. Strategy endures. The ruler who survives is the one who subordinates his emotions to his purpose, who acts not for vengeance or vanity, but for the cold preservation of power. And yet, never let them see the coldness. To the world, you must appear warm, approachable, even vulnerable at times. A ruler who seems human is less feared than one who seems inhuman, and fear alone cannot sustain a reign. But let the warmth be calculated, the vulnerability rehearsed. The true prince bleeds in private and smiles in public. Even as you calculate, as you deceive, as you strike, do not forget the weight of what you carry. A state is not an abstraction. It is millions of lives balanced on your decisions. Each misstep echoes through generations. Each weakness invites ruin. To lead is to accept this burden and to endure it without complaint. The crown does not forgive weakness. Do not seek solace in virtue for virtue's sake. Virtue is a tool like cruelty, like generosity, like deception. Use it when it strengthens you. Discard it when it threatens you. There is no honor in noble failure, only ruin. Better to be accused of vice and live than to be praised for virtue in a grave. They manipulate through chaos because chaos serves their ambition. You must impose order not only on the state, but on yourself. Discipline is your armor, clarity is your weapon, patience is your fortress. So long as you remain vigilant, so long as you remain unsentimental, so long as you remain relentless, you will outlast them. You will become the storm they fear, the shadow they cannot touch, the fixed star in a sky of falling empires. They manipulate through chaos. You win through cold strategy. This is the only path for the one who dares to rule. You will reach a point where all roads are behind you, where there is no going back to the man you once were. You will stand alone not because you desired solitude, but because command permits no equal. The higher you rise, the thinner the air, and the fewer who can breathe it beside you. Do not grieve this isolation. It is the cost of seeing the world as it is, of shaping events rather than being shaped by them. Others are content to drift, to complain, to plead for justice from a universe that does not hear. You chose a harder path. You chose to become the hand of order in a world of chaos. There will be no applause at the end, perhaps not even gratitude. The people you saved will forget, as they always do. The enemies you crushed will rewrite history, as they always try. Your victories will belong to no one but you, and that must be enough. If you are wise, you will not seek immortality in monuments or songs. Stones crumble, songs fade. Seek immortality instead in the structures you build, in the systems that endure beyond your hand. True power is not in being remembered. It is in leaving behind a world that moves as you once willed it to move. And when your time comes, when your body weakens, when your hand trembles, when the crown feels heavier than the mountain itself, you will not rage or weep. You will look back and know that you did what was necessary, that you carried the burden others could not, that you imposed order where there was none. This is the final truth of power. It is not glory, it is not virtue, it is not even survival. It is the discipline to hold the line until the very end, to shape the world and not be broken by it. They manipulated through chaos. You endured through cold strategy. And because of that, the realm survived. That is enough.